Thank you all for joining. I'm Matt Sherlock. If you haven't had the misfortune of meeting me as of yet, I'm Director of Product Strategy at Campus M. And over the next few tens of minutes, we'll be talking you through, you said we're doing insights from our customers. I can see we've got a good mix of current customers and those who've yet to join the Campus M family. I'm sure there'll be something for everyone here. As I say, we'll be recording it and making sure that you can review this post-event. Let me just, there we go, get the slides going. Okay, so over the last few months, we've been talking directly to customers about the impact COVID has had and will continue to have going forward. During this webinar, we'll explore the findings and insights from those conversations. I want to reflect on the recent and current situation as the sector has made seismic shifts to deliver education in different ways, in direct reaction to the pandemic that has spread across the globe. I then want to look at what our customers have suggested were the big challenges going forward as we move into this new normal. As we go through these challenges, I want to highlight how Campus M, our student experience platform that I represent, can help address these challenges and how we're adapting what we have to address some of the unique challenges ahead. But before we proceed, I just want to outline how we collected the data that I'm going to present. I'm sure you've all had suppliers reach out to you over the last couple of months to understand the impact COVID is having and how they can help. We initiated our own fact-finding activity soon after the impact of COVID was starting to be realised. We held multiple virtual customer fora across different regions and had over 30 customer interviews across our customer base to ensure we understood the challenges as part of our ongoing customer success process. And given that a number of those customers are on the call, I'd like to thank them for participating in that, who took time out at a really difficult time to provide us with this kind of invaluable insight that's helping us to shape Campus M going forward. So thank you very much for being part of that process. That said, let's look at the feedback we had on the current situation. All institutions have closed their campus to the majority of students and have switched to remote delivery of teaching and learning. Many staff are also working from home, though it's recognised that some staff are required on site to maintain systems and for health and safety reasons, but these numbers are being kept to the bare minimum. There is overwhelming acknowledgement that staff across institutions have had to make considerable adjustments to support an adaptation of processes and activities to facilitate the new normal. Equally, it's acknowledged that students have, by and large, been very understanding of this situation. The majority of communication to students is being managed by a central team, with senior oversight to ensure clarity and consistency of message. That said, some institutions acknowledge that they're quite fragmented and have quite a devolved hierarchy, with individual faculties managing significant aspects of the student experience. This can lead to the potential for inconsistencies in communication strategy and the messaging. Email is commonly the primary communication channel to students, with a number of institutions already having embedded policy requiring students to check their official university inbox weekly. And the information contained within those emails is typically backed up by links to long format content delivered through student-facing websites, intranets and blogs. Most institutions are using social media really to highlight the key message, to provide high-level advice and recirculate government guidance. It's really very much seen as a supporting channel rather than a primary one. In all, there is a general level of confidence that institutions have the tools and the processes to adapt and address the current short-term challenges. It's over the next 6 to 12 months where additional challenges may lie. Now let's reflect on the key business stream for many of our customer contacts, that of teaching and learning. Pretty much unanimously, teaching is being delivered primarily online with a range of media and technologies being utilised. As part of the transition to online learning, the virtual learning environment has become the key hub for digital learning, coordinating delivery of materials, resources and assessment for students. A range of supporting digital tools are also being widely utilised to support the VLE in delivering these materials. Synchronous delivery of classes are being delivered by traditional online learning tools like Adobe Connect and Blackboard Collaborate. And we're seeing the broader adoption of the more recent applications for video conferencing such as Microsoft Teams, Zoom, GoToMeetings and WebEx, really coming to the fore now. Asynchronous delivery of classes falls directly into the purview of lecture capture solutions such as Panopto, Echo and Echo 360 and MediaSite. And some institutions are also delivering virtual labs. This is where the academics capturing the experiment and broadcasting that, or in the case of computer science, where students are remoting into the facilities to undertake their labs on specialist hardware. Library services have been another key component of the online learning provision, provide access to key online resources through search, discovery and reading list materials to supplement content within the virtual learning environment. But one clear trend for most institutions is that academic departments are managing how classes are being delivered and are making the arrangements directly with students about when and how they're being delivered. So it's a slight temporary shift, we think, away from the kind of central management, scheduling, command and control type structures. Considering the summative assessment, the majority of institutions are running their assessment as timed open book exams. This has taken considerable effort for academic staff to rewrite papers and reformulate a different approach. As institutions head into the completion of their final assessment period, consideration is being made to manage perception, the devaluation of the university degree due to the potential leniency with regards to assessment for the final year. Many institutions want to maintain the academic rigour, but understandably there are challenges here, both in terms of delivery of classes and the mental health and social pressures that their student cohorts are under. So let's now consider the challenges that are identified as we head into the new academic year. I've structured these challenges around the following 5 challenge themes: planning for the unknown, effective teaching and learning, sustaining the business, socially distanced campus, and supporting the student. I'm not trying to identify or by order of the ordering of these titles provide a hierarchy of priority. These are just the 5 broad categories that I'm looking at. Let's take a look at these in a bit more detail then. So, planning for the unknown. The key challenge going forward is centred on the uncertainty with regards to how governments are dealing with the pandemic and the global spread of the virus. Some of these unknowns include the changeable social distancing requirements, the pandemic cycle with the potential for a second wave or mutation in a virus that we really don't know much about, the reduced number of applicants and the deferment of those applicants, and the changes to the international student market with a loss to local suppliers coming into effect. Now this of course is a double-edged sword as it does open up new opportunities for institutions as well to exploit that local interest. We're not sure of the economic impacts of the pandemic. We know that governments are making huge changes in their economic strategies to account for loss of business and such like, but we still don't know what that recovery will look like going forward. And there's a potential for rolling regional and local lockdowns as the pandemic matures. Given these variables, universities are having to plan for a range of potential scenarios and will have to adapt as the picture clarifies. Some of these scenarios that we talked about with customers include hybridized teaching models with both physical and virtual teaching ongoing, which that includes itself a mixture of on and off campus study and mixing those up for different cohorts. For example, researchers and postgrad students might be on campus due to the facilities they need, whereas undergrads might be learning remotely for the first semester. We understand that there's consideration for lecture timeshare, where this mixture of classes being delivered online and in person, being done in a kind of shift pattern where 1 week a student is online, second week they're offline. And the idea is really to get parity in terms of the total number of face-to-face sessions versus those remote sessions for the students as they go through. We've already seen a number of institutions having announced that they're moving all their delivery of teaching to online only for 20 and 21 as well. So we can already see that there are a number of different scenarios that are in play, and some institutions have already hedged their bet and made their decision quite early on. But generally, institutions are taking the longer term view here, planning for at least 18 to 24 months of disruption before a more normal returns. However, it was already accepted that the future will be different and that the current situation offers benefits and opportunities as well as challenges, and those benefits are likely to continue post-COVID. Naturally, institutions are looking for technology to support the adoption to the new normal, and they are looking for solutions that help them to be agile, so they can respond quickly to the challenges and creatively adapt to the necessary changes. Now, in terms of how Campus M can help, we've always prided ourselves on being an effective one-stop shop for students and staff, providing them with targeted, personalised services and information that is quick and easy to adapt and continually evolves to meet the demands of the situation. Our core competency is delivering a comprehensive student experience that brings together key services that a student needs to get stuff done, be that accessing their virtual learning content or seeing their class schedule with links to virtual class arrangements incorporated. And one of our key features is to deliver personalised and contextualised communication to the right student at the right time on their device of choice. This enables customers to respond to the situation as it evolved. And indeed they did as the pandemic broke and changes in government policy and social distancing came on board very, very quickly. In addition, we know that staff have similar challenges to students with regards to performing their job remotely from home, and our cross-channel delivery capabilities make admin's life that much easier, enabling them to create content once and deliver to all channels using our simple web-based configuration tool. And as a product that is developed agilely, we've taken steps to react to the feedback from our customers and are developing features that directly address the challenges presented by COVID-19. You'll see later in the presentation how we are adapting attendance to work in a hybrid situation and how we are developing new features to help you understand the student body. Our next challenge is with respect to delivering effective teaching and learning. There are a lot of unanswered questions around the impact on teaching delivery when social distancing measures reduce room capacities by 80 to 90%. Lectures are likely to be impossible to deliver in a conventional format, so teaching staff are going to have to make some radical changes to their course delivery. Whilst holistically the trend for more collaborative teaching models has largely benefited students, group work will be more challenging with a more distributed student body. And the evidence of delivering online programs suggests that the attrition rate for online classes is higher than for physical face-to-face learning. So thinking about measuring engagement of students becomes increasingly important. And that's, the challenge there is around how do you do this with distance learners. But there are opportunities here with measuring interactions with the digital environment to supplement more traditional engagement measurements like class attendance. Teaching is likely to be composed of lecture recordings alongside conference calls for seminars and tutorials where physical classes can't actually take place. And as mentioned already, some institutions are also exploring students physically attending on alternative weeks to provide a mixed economy in terms of face-to-face and online interactions. And as a result of these changes to the pedagogy, your institution's space portfolio is likely need to change or adapt to this new modes of delivery, with different technologies being deployed to cater for blended learning, small group virtual teaching and social distancing. We also noted in direct response to these teaching and learning challenges, some institutions are invested in or accelerating existing development of digital education programs for academic staff to support development of online teaching skills, acknowledging there are gaps in this provision that will need to be fulfilled. Again, how can Campus M help here? We can help you deliver that digital curriculum using our rich product integrations with key teaching and learning systems you have. In this way, you can deliver or signpost the services your students need at the time they need them in one place on their device of choice. This integrated approach can also help students make sense of the logistics of hybrid teaching arrangements with clear class and assessment schedules linked to virtual classes, recording and learning resources, all delivered from one place. We also know that more traditional mechanisms of understanding student engagement may need enriching with additional data points as new and alternative ways of engaging with teaching and learning are promoted. Here, product features like Campus M Attendance, our Insight Analytics, and our new Quick Polls feature will provide you with the ability to understand student engagement and sentiment, so you have insight into how students are working with the digital environment. Couple this with our ability to deliver targeted and engaging constructive interventions directly to the student using our student roles and our personalised notifications really allows you to create a subtle variation in user experience depending on engagement levels and risk. So you can nudge the students to engage with support services and push them to best. Next up, looking at sustaining the business. It goes without saying there is likely to be substantial long-term consequences as a result of the current crisis. And whilst it's unknown what they will be at the moment, it's safe to assume that student numbers will decrease over the next 12 to 24 months as students look to defer or move to employment apprenticeships rather than pay to attend university. Institutions who have traditionally considered themselves as selective universities, where demand outstrips supply in terms of student numbers, are now coming to terms that they may need to become recruiting universities, with a need to develop their capabilities to engage prospective students and sell their programme. Where international students have traditionally provided a substantial proportion of income to many institutions, this may not be a sustainable funding model in the short to medium term, and institutions will need to look to diversify. The reduction in student numbers and the implications of retaining students is likely to have significant impact on university budgets, leaving institutions with a need to make hard decisions about investment and disinvestment across the business. Pragmatically, there is an understanding it will take time to recover. Therefore, institutions are looking to a 3 to 5 year financial plan, and we're already seeing governments reacting to the challenges ahead and looking to provide additional funds and grants to counter these losses. It's likely that these won't fill the gaps completely. So how can Campus M help here? We can help the business support student success and retention by providing features and functions that enable you to understand student engagement levels and their sentiment. On top of this, we provide a great vehicle to deliver constructive interventions to students, from adaptive release of content based on student roles through to targeted personalised notifications. And we can help with student recruitment and conversion both nationally and internationally through purpose-built profiles that work when access to the campus can be challenging. You can provide a compelling digital experience that is engaging and empowering. Our ability to integrate with your existing system portfolio allow you to expose them to students through this unified interface, making the most of your existing investment. And CampusM gives you the financial certainty with an all-inclusive pricing model with no hidden charges, and our agile development cycle means that you benefit ongoing product enhancements that adapt to the changing needs of the sector and your institution. Our fourth challenge theme is around consideration for operating the business with consideration for social distancing. As I've mentioned before, most institutions are considering a phased return to campus. This phasing will likely consider the specific needs and attributes of users. For example, some researchers are likely to need access to advanced facilities. International students will have challenges in travelling and may need to quarantine, etc. There is a clear expectation that the digital environment of the university will be as, if not more important than the physical environment. The ability for institutions to differentiate themselves in the short term and justify the cost of their programs will become more challenging when operating in an online, digital-only teaching mode. A lot of institutions base a significant proportion of their value add on the facilities and the community aspect of this experience. This will be challenging to reproduce in a virtualised environment. When campuses do reopen, they will need to adjust to accommodate social distancing guidelines. Institutions are also looking at innovative ways to enable touchless campus with the aim of limiting what students and staff have to physically touch, the doors, books, service counters, etc. These social distancing requirements will mean reduced venue capacities, that will need controlling peak flows through buildings, entrances, implementing of one-way systems with those entrances controlled and the exits controlled, and putting in place booking systems to manage space capacity and usage. And this is something CampusM has been supporting institutions with for a number of years. We were developed and has been successfully implemented in a way that delivers an engaging digital experience to supplement the physical experience. This naturally becomes more important as we move through this situation. CampusM allows you to highlight and signpost to or integrate directly with the digital services that make up that holistic digital experience. And with complexities involved with phasing the return of students and staff to campus, which require targeted and logistical information, this can be overcome with our messaging segmentation that's provided through CampusM app roles. In direct response to feedback, we're also making enhancements to our resource booking product integration to enable reminder notifications and ticketing for venues and resources to ensure that students make the most of the facilities in a responsible way. And our resource availability functions enable students to view venue usage before they even set foot on campus. By offering these services through the app, together with planned enhancements to our digital ID card, we are helping to deliver more services in a touchless way, reducing that need for face-to-face interactions. Finally, let's consider how institutions are looking to support their students. New and returning students are going to need additional support as they move towards this new normal, as well as helping managing the well-being impact the pandemic has had on them and their families. Providing clarity of message at the right time to the right students will be instrumental in successful transition for the start of the year. Significant effort is being put into plans for welcome and transition activities, as these will be key to ensuring that the students feel supported and safe. It's fair to say that most institutions have student support models that are reliant on face-to-face interactions. This model will need to flex and change given the situation. Institutions are looking at ways to empower the students to self-serve and undertake more digital interactions rather than using these physical services. There is, of course, a big challenge around how the social and collaborative experience that is really key to the university experience can be facilitated in a socially distanced campus. There are also questions over how these challenges will impact success and retention strategies, given how important that sense of community is to the student. As I've highlighted before, Campus M provides that engaging one-stop shop for your students and staff, delivering interactions and transactions for key systems and services through our rich product integration. This empowers your students to do more for themselves. And this can be coupled nicely with Campus M's ability to deliver targeted and contextualised content and services to new joiners or continuing students, thus enabling them to register and engage with an institution before, during and after the start of term. And we know that understanding how students are feeling, what digital service they're engaging with, and the virtual classes they attended will be important parts of supporting the student. So our data capture capabilities, sorry, there's a lot of words there we see, provides you with additional data points and insights into the student journey. Through this data, institutions can enable track and trace capabilities and deliver constructive interventions direct to the students that need it. So as we conclude the presentation, I just wanted to highlight a couple of business features that we've developed and are enhancing as a result of feedback to help with the coming challenges. Over the last few years, we've been enhancing and building out our attendance capabilities, and we've got this in play with over 16 institutions across the UK and a number of institutions in Australia. Now, we have built this to be very flexible and adaptable as needs change, and in fact, as COVID hit and our institutions moved into distance learning mode, a number of our institutions were able to make the switch in terms of the validation technologies to be able to use our one-time code validation mechanism to actually track student attendance in virtual classes as well as in physical classes. Now, we continue to see this as a tool that can help to develop an understanding of student engagement alongside, understanding of digital engagement with different systems anyway that can be provided by, for example, our Insight Analytics. So we are working with a number of institutions to adapt this technology so that it will allow them to both take attendance in a virtual situation, and also, as importantly, in a mixed mode, a hybrid type arrangement where some students will be physically on campus and some will be accessing virtually. We're utilising our unique multi-factor validation mechanism to support that. Another feature that is hot off the press is our quick polls. This is a brand new feature that we're introducing. The screenshots you can see here are very early beta versions of this functionality. And in effect, what this is enabling you to do is to poll your customer, your student, your user base with simple multiple choice questions on a regular basis, just to understand a range of different activities or topics that you might want insight into. Now, we worked directly with feedback from customers in terms of how we could utilise this in a COVID type arrangement, and so we've built it in a way that will allow you to potentially allow students to identify where they have COVID-19 symptoms or not, and actually manage their roles based on their response to answers, linking them to key information about the situation, and allow you to extract that data as well. Again, combining this as part of a track and trace type operation. You'll also be able to ask questions about sentiment, which again will provide you with real insight in real time about your student body. They'll get reminders about responding to the question if you enable it, and you'll be able to capture this data and report on it. And we're really excited about what this quick poll functionality will enable us to do going forward. The role changes, linking to information will make this extremely powerful to really create very subtle changes in the interface based on student interaction. Now, thank you for bearing with us or with me for the last 30 minutes on that or so. Hopefully that's given you some insight into the feedback that we have from our customers and some of the activities that we're doing to respond to that. I'm happy to take questions at this time. I've put my contact details up, and if you've got any questions or comments about the slides or what I've presented, please feel free to reach out to me to follow up on that. If you want to know more about CampusM, I've got James Horden-Storey, his details there as well if you want to email him. But if you do have any questions, I'm going to be here for the next couple of minutes. Please use the question panel and I'll take those questions. If not, thank you very much for your time and patience. As I say, the recording will be available after the event, and we'll be also circulating the document with the summary of the outcomes as well from these surveys. So Ben, I think Ben had a question there regarding the release date for the polls. So we're actually doing it in two phases. The first phase will be available from, we're hotfixing it to the August preview release at the end of next week. So that's end of next week. What's that date-wise? So the release, we're making the release on the 6th of July. So that new first version will be available in preview from the 13th. Actually, it'll be the 13th. And that will include the ability to create polls. There's an API to extract the data. You'll also be able to see aggregated data within App Manager. What will come in the next release, which is scheduled for September release, is the ability to schedule these polls on a regular basis, daily, weekly, monthly, termly. The ability to modify the roles based on on response. I'm really excited about this because yes, this certainly applies to COVID. Yes, it certainly applies to potentially understanding student sentiment, but it could equally apply to enable you to customize and configure the CampusM experience based on students' responses to questions as well. So I'm hugely excited about that particular functionality as well.